So now we're talking with David Foster, and he's a Liveable City board member, and this is another one of our kind of tests. We're trying it out. And we've been talking with David a little bit about affordability, and you might riff on that topic a wee bit. Like, what does it mean, and is Austin affordable? And
well, yeah, it's not an easy question to answer, but I think of housing and transportation primarily when asked about affordability. I know it's more than that. It's access to health care, it's food. But as far as transportation is concerned, I really think it can be affordable provided that you're smart about where you choose to live. And what my wife and I did in 1993 when we came back to Austin from Germany and bought a house is we chose a house on a major bus line. So we've been able to survive in this town with one car and raise our kids, get them out on their own and so forth. And we've paid for the house now. And it would have been very difficult, if not impossible, given that she's a school teacher and I work for a nonprofit. But not having to have that second car saved us literally tens of thousands of dollars over the 20 years that we lived in Austin. On the housing end, though, it's clear that Austin is becoming less affordable. I don't believe, maybe not even with our salaries that we have now, we both make more money now than we did then, that we'd be able to buy in the same neighborhood, which is Southwood, just south of Benwhite off of Manchaca. We thought that felt like living in Waco at the time. We couldn't afford to live in the central city in 1993. I do think that there are ways to address the housing affordability issue. We've done that ourselves because we rent a room usually to a grad student, which helps us pay our bills, and it provides an affordable unit for somebody, who otherwise might not be able to find that. And what I've noticed is that Austinites are increasingly, frankly, bunking together, renting rooms, buying houses together. That's a really smart strategy. And I also think that the co-ops in West Campus, my office is in West Campus, and I work with a lot of student-age people and students, and I think that's very helpful to affordability. But generally speaking, housing has just gotten less and less affordable here in town, no question, compared to what it was 20 years ago or 40 years ago when I first started coming down to visit.
So when you came to Austin 40 years ago,
I came to do grad school in '83, which is about 30 years ago, and I used to come down to visit in the 70s.
So your favorite places then, are they still around?
No. Obviously Barton Springs is still here, but some of the music venues have moved on, the Armadillo World headquarters and so forth. But I think that the spirit is still here. You kind of expect that of music and the arts anyway. It's a scene that migrates anyhow, so I think there's still plenty of good music out there.
So there's been a lot of changes in Austin recently. What are some of your favorite changes? Do you have?
I think that I'm a transportation geek, and I ride my bike and ride the bus, and I think that the bicycle infrastructure has gotten a lot better. And there are a lot of reasons why that's happened. Some of it is because a lot of community organizations, including us, have pushed to do that, but we've also got a really good bicycle coordinator, Anique Baudet. I just give her a lot of credit. I can tell you that when I spoke with bike coordinators in the 80s and then again in the 90s about why don't we have this, why don't we have that, why for example, don't we have bike lanes on South Lamar? One bike coordinator said, I would never dream of putting bike lanes on South Lamar. It's just too dangerous. Which, when you say that, you've given up. Well, guess what? Now we've got bike lanes on parts of South Lamar. So I think that's a change to the good. I think Cat Metro's bus system has gotten better, more rational, more efficient. I look forward to so-called rapid bus. I don't think it's quite what we need. I want to see us move towards rail, but it's at least better than it was. I think it's good that we have so many people living downtown now. I appreciate that we're adding population to the central city. The downside, obviously, is affordability. They're very expensive. You don't see a lot of families down there. You don't see a lot of parents with young children, actually. So.
Thank you.
You bet.